theory that the surge of millennials and Gen Z leaving Abrahamic religion is directly correlated to their understanding of what good parenting is. For the first time in history, more than ever, millions of us are coming to recognize that a parent forces a child into existence and therefore owes them everything, which is a huge shift from the way our parents thought about bringing a child into the world, right? There was so much language for even thousands of years that a parent is giving a child a gift, whereas our generation is more likely to see it as this being didn't ask to be here. It is here as a result of our desires. We forced it into existence against their consent, and therefore we are responsible for caring for that child, and just as importantly, communicating how it should live in a moral way, in a way that the child can understand. We put the onus on ourselves to communicate in a way the child can understand, and if the child doesn't understand us, we recognize that we need to communicate in a way that they cannot misinterpret, because we are the one with a fully developed brain, and they are the ones with a brain much less developed than ours. So it's our responsibility to communicate clearly to them. Now, let's see how this connects to most holy texts of Abrahamic religions. Whenever you bring up a verse, a phrase, in any of these Abrahamic texts that seems explicitly misogynist, homophobic, in favor of slavery, in favor of violence, the explanation that you will inevitably get is, oh, it might look that way, but you are misunderstanding it. And in order to understand it properly, you need to go look at the original language, which you don't speak. You need to go look at the historical context, which requires literacy, access to experts and information. It requires all of this effort on the part of the creation to not misinterpret the holy instructions of their perfect parent. And as a new generation of parents, we recognize that that is an inverse balance of power. If I don't understand something, a being that was forced into existence, and there is a holy being who is perfectly capable of communicating to me in a way that I would not misinterpret, that I don't need, a master's degree in divinity to understand, that I don't need a PhD in history, that I don't need perfect lessons in Arabic or Aramaic or Greek. Can you imagine if you were a human parent and that's what you required your toddler to know in order for them not to misinterpret your commands? That's on you. You need to be a better and more communicative parent. You need to use a medium of communication that your toddler can easily understand and that is more foolproof to misinterpretation. And because as a new generation of parents, we recognize that the person with the most power and authority, the person who forced a being into existence, is responsible for communicating well. It's harder for us to shift this responsibility onto ourselves, as we have for thousands of years. It's harder for us to look at these texts and say, okay, even if we squint, even if we massage, even if we can get enough textbooks and enough language translations to somehow make this not problematic, why is it on us to do that? Why wouldn't a perfect, responsible parent communicate in a way that their children can easily understand without error, or at least with close to no error? Right? Why would he require all of these extra resources, right? And he is perfectly capable of communicating well. And on top of that, to punish your children for acting in a way that is wrong, which they directly attributed to your holy texts, which they misinterpreted for whatever reason because you made it easy to misinterpret. You did not provide all of the resources within it to make sure that nobody could read certain words, like slaves obey your masters, and not reasonably come to the conclusion that slavery is fine as long as you treat your slaves okay, right? That's the parent's job, to communicate well, and we know that as new parents, millennials, Gen Z, we recognize that the relationship of the powerful to the less powerful puts responsibility on the powerful. And that's why Abrahamic religion, which traditionally reversed that, the less powerful is responsible to understand the powerful, and if they don't understand the powerful, they are punished. That power dynamic no longer makes sense. And the more people like me, like millions of other people, my generation, recognize it, it's harder for them to swallow the traditional answers of Abrahamic religion.
Can I just say, don't get in a relationship with a guy that doesn't know how to react in an emergency situation. Because I've been telling my boyfriend for hours to get his shit together, pack a bag, get his memorabilia, put together a box of all his keepsakes and all of his letters from these old baseball players that are precious to him. What does he do? Oh no, he waits until there are flames on our fucking roof almost to even pack a bag of clothing. I packed the entire car with 4 animals by my fucking self. And he's slowly, methodically putting some things together, like not taking it seriously. He's like, sit down and talk. He's got my mom on the phone, who's also not being helpful. I thought she was going to have my back. As a survivor of a natural disaster where I didn't have an evacuation warning and it crept the fuck up on me, I survived. It's either Hurricane Ira or Hurricane Ida, the fucking freak one that hit New York, that went through Florida, and we had no fucking idea, and people fucking died. I was living in a illegal basement apartment in New York, in Queens. Sitting at my desk, working, and I feel my socks get wet, and I look down, and pouring in from all the cracks from the wall, coming up from the floor, sewage water. And you want to tell me, oh no, I spoke to my neighbor this morning, and my neighbor says it's fine. My neighbor says it's unlikely. Very unlikely. I'm a fucking natural disaster trauma survivor, and you're saying, oh, I don't believe you. I'm going to check with all these other people. And here we are. And we got out right before everyone else in WeHo, and the hills were evacuated, and now it's right on us. Right up on us. You could lose your house tonight. I could lose my house. I could lose most of my possessions, and so could he. But you didn't believe me. And you waited, and now it's my fault. I packed everything myself. I had to fucking drag you. I almost had to fucking tranquilize this person. Drag him into the trunk to get him out of the fucking house. He was like, oh no, just leave without me. Just drive. Oh, so you want me to leave you without a vehicle stranded? How am I supposed to do that to the person I love? You are literally deciding my fucking fate right now. And I shouldn't have to scream at the top of my fucking lungs for you to listen to me. What kind of fucking love is this? Dude, like... I have lost everything before. Everything. Like, I had FEMA aid for the hurricane that I was in. My house was unlivable. It was black mold, and they like cut it out of the wall, but they didn't because it's the landlord special. I ended up getting a settlement from that because of like all of the violations, and getting out and starting a new life in Brooklyn, just to like end up with a fucking bipolar alcoholic who took out all of his worries and sorrows on me, and then I ended up having to pay his fucking rent for a year. Oh yeah, and he's with a new girl who I'm sure he's gaslighting and telling that, oh yeah, his fucking ex is bitch. His ex is a bitch. No, actually, I just was tired of like waiting to get a phone call from the morgue or the hospital or the police saying like, we need you to identify this person. And they found you on the train tracks because you would drink the hand sanitizer, the vanilla extract. I've been through it. I'm not doing it again. Like, I need a partner that fucking is there for me, that's got me, that fucking believes my intuition. The only reason we're in San Diego right now is because I dragged his fucking ass out of the house. I am so angry. I am so angry, and I am so hurt. And I don't care if he sees this. He's in a Walmart right now, getting a bunch of stuff that we need. All nonchalant, all hippity-hoppity, all, you know, positive, and I'm here like I've literally been in a trauma cycle for the last day and a half, pleading with you and begging you to leave and get out early as a precaution. But I just had to see the flames myself, didn't I, before you would be dragged against your will out of the house. I'm so tired of people not having my fucking back, dude. I am so fucking tired of it. What is the point of being with a man if you're the one protecting? If you're the one getting out ahead of things and making sure that everything is okay and that we're safe? I grabbed his laptop, his headphones, his fucking fake Gucci loafers, and a blazer, because I asked him if he wanted me to pack a bag for him, and he was like, no, I'll do it. I didn't want to overstep, so I was just like, let me just take the things that I like on him. This is gonna be number one topic in therapy next week. I don't know if I can get over this. I need a fucking apology from every single person that fucking doubted me tonight and tried to fucking gaslight me and tell me to calm down.
Where they can't get you with gender, they'll get you with race. Where they can't get you with race, they'll get you with religion. Where they can't get you with religion, they'll get you with money. Where they can't get you with money, they'll get you with race.
You can be poor and be educated, but good fucking luck convincing the people around you to be educated. Because if you are educated and poor, you probably feel alone. You probably feel very alone. Because if you are poor, you're not supposed to be educated. Okay? So as soon as you start trying to educate yourself out of poverty, you're going to isolate yourself real fucking fast and speedy. And on top of that, as you're going into poverty, it's so strange. As you're coming out of poverty, it's so strange. Because as you go into wealth, you then have to uneducate yourself. You have to forget everything you just learned for the sake of making the most money possible, because it gets to your fucking head and you start getting addicted to that shit. So that's why it's so ironic and dangerous for people to come out of poverty blindly, not understand what got them out of poverty in the first place, which is the willingness to see it all from a bigger picture. And then they just get swiped up down the opposite side of the pipeline, on the other polar end. Like, you see what I mean? Like, when you're poor and uneducated, you're comfortable and you're safe. You're poor as you're meant to be. When you're poor and you're educated, they will ostracize you. They will make you feel bad for being smart. And by they, I'm talking about the poor people around you. Crabs in a bucket mentality. When you're surrounding yourself with rich people, it's, oh no, that's too deep, that's too much. Let's not talk about the real factual, historical stuff, the educated stuff. You'd think that the goal of education is to accumulate wealth, to like continue learning, to continue spreading that. But in this economy, the goal of education is blind ignorance. That's from what I can tell. Now, please correct me if you feel otherwise or if you feel differently. But as somebody who first grew up in the United States and then went to high school in Costa Rica, where I met and saw firsthand neo-colonialist expats like move to Costa Rica and basically colonize the area and call it tourism, that's boosting the economy. By what standard? By whose standard? Like, we're not questioning these things. We're just like egoically, blindly going into a foreign country, not realizing we're doing, oh my God. Anyways. I came back here and I saw everything with like new eyes, and I haven't been able to shut up about it. So
If they wanted to ban TikTok, they would have been banned TikTok. But they don't want to ban TikTok. They want TikTok. The stipulation is not on January 19th, we're going to ban TikTok. The stipulation is on January 19th, we're going to ban TikTok unless it's sold to an American company, because data is the new oil. Data is currency. Your data, my data, All of this data that we are constantly feeding these algorithms that make them better and better and make these companies richer and richer is so lucrative. We are living during an autonomous technological revolution, and AI as a technology is literally changing the way that we all live at an exponential rate. When we analyze technology from an economic perspective, like the cost reduction framework, the purpose of all technology, in principle, is to reduce the cost of doing something by making it easier to do something, keeping in mind that cost is not all financial. There are effort costs, time costs, labor costs, etc. The invention of computer technology was extremely innovative because it reduced the cost of doing arithmetic. Before computers, there were job positions held by human people called computers, most of which were women, by the way, who solved complex arithmetic by hand using their brains. As you can imagine, this made the cost of doing arithmetic, i.e. the cost of computing, expensive because it relied on extremely skilled, highly specialized labor that was hard to come by. And so by reducing the cost of computing, by making it possible for machines to calculate ones and zeros instead of relying on humans to do it, we create opportunities to do things that we've never done quicker and faster, like fly planes or cook food on a stovetop without fire. The invention of Google technology made search cheaper. Before Google, we had to go to the library, a physical location where there were librarians who operated catalogs and databases of information. And so the process of searching and discovery and gaining knowledge was expensive because it took a lot of effort, a lot of labor, a lot of time, a lot of money. And so Google made the process and the cost of search practically nothing, which enables us to make discoveries and execute things in our lives a lot quicker and a lot easier. And so AI technology reduces the cost of prediction. It makes prediction cheap. And this cost reduction framework has shown us that the cheaper something becomes, the more of it we can use and the more opportunity we can create to do things that we've never done before. And the cheaper predictions become, the more we can make predictions. And the more we can make predictions, the better we can predict. And the better that we can predict, the more accurately we can create knowledge. This is the whole premise of artificial intelligence. And good predictions rely on data. Like a lot of data. The reason our For You pages are perfect and we're addicted to TikTok is not because the people at TikTok are geniuses. I mean, they are, but it's because we've given these algorithms so much data. We have liked enough videos, we've scrolled through enough videos and come back to enough videos. We have searched certain keywords after seeing other keywords in the comment sections that we interact with. We've given these algorithms so much data that they've been able to make so many predictions. And the predictions have gotten so good that it feels like the people at TikTok are living in the walls of our houses because we have made these algorithms so artificially intelligent that it feels like they know us. It's not them, it's you. And when people are like, I built my For You page from the ground up, you sure did. And the worst part is, you did it for free. As somebody who works in tech, I know all too well how these companies weasel their little clauses into the privacy policies that basically say, we're going to steal all your data. Yeah, we're going to steal all your data and you're going to consent to it. And we literally click accept. What does this have to do with the whole TikTok ban? Well, to be a leader in the AI space, you have to invest in data. Why invest in data when you can just get it for free? When people like us will literally hand our data, our most valuable currency in the digital age, over to these companies on a silver platter in exchange for our daily, hourly, minutely dopamine hit. They don't care about Americans' data privacy. They keep saying how dangerous it is for Chinese companies to have access to Americans' data. No, it's dangerous for US companies not to have this data, because it makes them vulnerable and poor. It's all about power and money. The more of our data that they can harness and the cheaper that they can do it, the richer that they become. Currently, most AI technology relies on assisted learning. It relies on feedback and data from humans to make accurate predictions. And the vision for AI technology is for it to be unassisted, for these algorithms to learn from themselves and not rely on any human feedback to get smarter and smarter. This is the whole discourse around AI getting too smart and taking over and blase, blase. But to even get to that point, it needs copious amounts of data. And where better to get that data than from the platform that has so much of it and for free? 170 million Americans use TikTok daily. And what's interesting about American data is that it's rich in the sense that the United States is so racially, culturally, ethnically, socioeconomically diverse that at times it can be a fairly good representative of the aggregate of the rest of the world, which is what makes this data in particular so lucrative. And so never mind the fact that we all love TikTok and we have so much fun and we express ourselves and we make money and we learn things, and there are parts of TikTok that unapologetically refute American propaganda. The US government isn't saying, we're going to ban TikTok because it's dangerous for it to be in the hands of the Chinese. They're saying, we want it. We want to be the ones to wield power over and make money off of our constituents, not you. And if that isn't greed, child, I don't know what is.
Hate to be the one to tell some of you this because I know that you are suffering deeply with religious psychosis. But the horrible things that are happening in the world, i.e. wars, natural disasters, states of emergency like we are currently facing in Los Angeles, are not some biblical act or prophecy. I literally saw a comment today under somebody's post that said, oh, the sun is orange, and they had mentioned that in the Bible during Armageddon. Have any of you ever been anywhere near a fire before at all? This is not happening because of Jesus coming. This is happening because of real people's actions here on earth. It is not some evil man down under. I hate to tell you that. And it minimizes the pain and the things that people are really going through. Here on earth, people's houses are burning. People's family members are dying. But yeah, sure, guys, just convert. Yeah, you'll be saved.
If you believe in God, you become less attractive to me. I'm not trying to deal with people on a consistent basis who believe in adult Santa Claus. You ignore facts because it makes you feel nice. In 2024, you're ignoring facts to make you feel nice. You know who else does that? Trump supporters do that. They ignore all the facts because he makes them laugh. They ignore all the facts because he's a white man. They ignore all the facts because it just feels nice to be part of the groupthink and do what everybody else is doing and feel accepted into something. No matter how detrimental, how terrible, no, whatever. You ignore the terrible shit in the Bible, even though it's an unproven book, but you still go by an unproven book of horrible things done by somebody and you reason them away because it makes you feel nice. God killed the whole planet and you want to tell me that that's the good person. Like, I can't be associated with people like that. Like, you refuse to see truth. You refuse to see facts because it makes you feel nice. That's not how an adult should operate in the world. I'm good. Keep that over there.
All the Trump supporter parents in Texas are crying literally on the internet because he's closing the schools. Oh, it's almost like he said he would do that. Crazy, right? Why are you mad that your kids are going to be dumber than you? That's what you literally voted for. You literally voted for your kids to grow up to be fucking imbeciles, and now y'all are mad that you gotta homeschool them. Like, I feel like Trump supporters voted for Trump in hopes that he would not keep his promises, but he's doing even worse than that. He refuses to keep the good promises that he made and is only sticking to the bad ones. Now your kids can't fucking read and you're upset? At what point in life are we just gonna start calling Trump supporters idiots? Like fucking dummies. That's what they are. They're imbeciles. They have an IQ of 2. Everyone say it with me. You play games made by a donkey. You look like a what? An ass. Thank you.
Fascist countries ban apps. Fascist countries ban websites. Fascist countries ban apps and websites under the guise of threats to national security, when every other country knows it's about suppressing the free speech of its citizens. If the government believes that a single app could, quote from the hearing on the 10th, skew the perspective of American citizens to be anti-American, maybe the real problem is that American citizens are already in such a state of political unrest and unhappiness that our government is scared a single foreign influence could tip the scale and have it all be over. Don't you think that by taking away the, and I quote, key communications channel of Americans, it's gonna make those 170 million Americans a little more anti-American? Maybe Congress knows and understands that. Maybe the government knows that the backlash it will receive from banning TikTok does not outweigh the threats that come with its existence. Not in a matter of national security, but in a matter of being the most popular news and media outlet that the government cannot control, like American-owned broadcasting networks and publications. Maybe, if this was actually a national security concern, the government would be banning all Chinese-developed apps, like Shein and Temu, that collect the exact same amount of data as TikTok. Because maybe it knows TikTok is something special. You can't politically organize on Temu. If TikTok goes dark, the government deliberately and knowingly took away your free speech. Do not accept national security for an answer.
Evangelical Christianity grooms people for living under a dictatorship. God himself is a dictator. He's put on a pedestal. He's seen as better than everyone and everything. He can't do any wrong. He's an authority figure that you must blindly obey and worship. Otherwise, you will go to hell. You cannot question him. You cannot criticize him. People will chastise you for doing so. How dare you question God? How dare you think you know more than God? Or they'll dismiss you. God works in mysterious ways that our mere human brain can't comprehend. And this translates so well into the real world because Christian nationalists believe that the US is a God-ordained country and that Trump is God's chosen leader. This is also why Trump can do literally anything, like get convicted of SA, brag about SAing women, walk into the dressing rooms of women while they're changing, and still his followers support him. They find excuses to justify his behavior. God has also done terrible things. He committed a G-side when he made it rain for 40 days and 40 nights and killed everyone except for Noah's family, and his followers still worship him. It's also why Christian nationalists don't care when women die from abortion bans, when trans and gay people die from hate crimes, when immigrants are deported, because they think these people are sinners who are getting punished for going against their faith, and they think that they deserve that.
Despite the fact that I'm a literal software engineer and I work with tech, I'm not very tech savvy, but more when it comes to like gadgets and things like that. And it's because I do not, and I absolutely refuse to become incompetent for the sake of convenience. Hear me out. In pre-calc or whatever, math class, you get a graphing calculator. And I was like, oh, so like I just keep this on my desk the whole time, even like on tests. And my teacher was like, yeah, because you're going to need it. You need to graph your functions and things like that. And I was like, I don't like this. She was like, what? And I was like, I'd rather draw the fucking graph and project that bitch, because no. She was like, well, what do you have against this? And I was like, if I keep this graphing calculator on my desk, I'm gonna start using it to check my arithmetic and I'll just forget my fucking arithmetic. She was like, I don't think that's exactly what happened. That's exactly what happened. Don't try to ask me to give you change, because I don't got it. It's bad. Fractions? With that being said, I am not a fan of AI. I hate AI. I know that AI will be the lead to our demise. The fact that AI is climbing and the collective comprehension and reading levels are declining, right? So in efforts of me gaining some like competence back and trying to fight against the brain mush, because I really am like, I want to stay sharp. I feel like dementia in our, in our parents' generation, ours and after, I feel like this little group of like 40 years worth of people, dementia, the brain capacity, I just feel like the mush is being expedited because of people relying on gadgets and robots and AI out of convenience. That is my theory, and I'm gonna stand on that. So with that being said, I'm trying to get comfortable with being uncomfortable, or I'm trying to get more familiar with being inconvenienced. So I turned off the auto spell on my phone, and I realized that I needed to do that because I'm doing morning pages. So when I'm writing and certain words trip me up when it comes to spelling. Now these words, the words that are tripping me up is embarrassing to admit. Why the fuck is restaurant spelled like that? Mischievous? Mischievous had me fucked up this morning. So yeah, got rid of the autocorrect. And one thing that I got very reliant on was that back camera on my car. Now, I would like to say that I am a good driver. You know what I'm saying? My mother worked at the DMV in Connecticut where we actually had to learn how to parallel park, and I can do that shit with the music playing. Now, I know that when I said that I can drive, some people started to laugh, but let me just say, side note, them curbs be jumping out at me, okay? I'm a fucking victim. Not too much on me. It's them curbs. Tell them to back up. Tell them to get out of my way. But yeah, I can drive. So I was like, you know what? I'm a little bit too reliant on this back camera. Yeah, I'm about to start driving and parking without it. Cause just like something about moving a whole vehicle with your head straight and just looking at a camera, that's crazy. That's crazy. So yesterday I went to this cute little shop and I got me some notebooks for the new year. I'm so excited. They're so cute. And like I said, I'm trying to get better. So when I reversed out, first of all, I hate the diagonal parking spots. Those don't really make a lot of sense. And this was a diagonal parking spot into oncoming traffic. This is when I decided to start not using my back camera. But I was committed. So I hit one of these, you know what I'm saying? Arm, hand behind the passenger, neck turned all the way. I'm looking both ways. I'm using all of my mirrors. Okay, the music is turned down. I needed to focus. Shit took me 5 tries. Whoa. I do not use Siri. I fucking hate Alexa. My girlfriend be using her, and let me tell you, the only bitch that need to be in your house listening to your conversations and turning your lights on and off needs to be me. Fuck Alexa. Fuck Alexa, fuck Siri, fuck all of them. Hey, Google, all of them. My house is bare bones boots. I don't care. I'm not having no bot in my crib. And if I get a vacuum, it'll be a manual upright corded one too. Vroomba, please. Oh, I realize that it kind of gives aluminum hat, and I don't care. I don't care. These robots are not helpful. And y'all know I love to read. Oh, love to read down. Hold on, let me show you my bookcase. Like, look at my bookcase. I love to read. Obviously, it can be a little bit more beefy, but I love to read. And I was talking to my coworker the other day and a few other people. This is not just like, you know, one-off conversation. I've spoken to multiple people and they be like, nah, I don't really bother reading. What the fuck are you talking about? What are you talking about? Oh, and then the people who are like, oh, I read however many books and it's audiobooks. Nasty work. Boy, what is boiling down to, y'all? And I know I'm giving... What it really boils down to is that your affinity towards convenience will turn you into a pile of mush that can be easily influenced, easily taken advantage of. And this is how we are losing our rights. This is how society as we know it is crashing and burning, because everyone is addicted to convenience. And so I don't really bother reading, or like, nah, I'm not gonna use the little bit of brain power that it might take to look at my fridge and figure out what I can cook. It's a problem. And now, especially when I go back to like that reading point, my biggest beef with like AI making things easier, but it's removing the inconvenience of using your imagination, right? If you mean to tell me that when you open your fridge, you scan that, you can't really look at what might be potential ingredients for a meal, but you're going to ask a robot to do that instead? Is that not an attack on creativity? Or am I making this, is it not that deep? It's not that deep? It's not that deep? I'm tweaking? You're using AI to draft emails. Now, mind you, corporate jargon is a different battle. It's a different beast for sure, but I'm talking about like navigating regular conversations with day-to-day people. You're going to depend on AI to use the emotional intelligence, you know, context and vocab that you can just put together in your brain. But that's too hard for you, or that's too inconvenient for you. And I mean, when I had Siri, it was mainly like, hey, like I would like, whenever I wanted to Google something, I would like ask it. And then I realized that like I was kind of denying myself the opportunity to rabbit hole.
in things that I'm obviously interested in. You know what I'm saying? So if I go out of my way to actually do the research, then I'm going to find relevant articles. I'm going to be able to assess what is credible and what isn't. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's not just going to be a one sentence response and then I'll just go on about my day. Like, I get to actually like set the intention and like sit for a few minutes fully entertaining a thought that came across my little brain. Like, I just feel like we're starving our brains of practice, of creativity, of, you know, opportunities to freestyle on shit. And it's a huge problem. The fact that all of this came from the realization that I can drive without my back camera, that tracks. That tracks. If you heard any like nasty licking sounds, Stink is over here going ham on them corn chips, so excuse me. But if you listen this far, thank you. Hopefully we're on the same page. If not, pick up a fucking book.